Hi, welcome to Miss Miller's Read Alouds. The book I'm going to read to you today is a fairy tale. If you need a reminder of what a fairy tale is, look down in the description below. The fairy tale I'm going to read today is The Princess and the Pea. In this story, the prince is looking for a princess, but before he can marry her, the queen decides she must pass a test. She must lay on 100 mattresses and feel the pea placed at the bottom. Read with me to find out if the princess feels the pea and marries the prince. Once upon a time, there was a prince who lived in a lovely castle. The castle had a drawbridge and a moat. It had lots of towers and turrets, but the prince was lonely. He was very small, and his kingdom very large, so he set out on a journey to find a princess. He traveled north, but the princess he found did not like warm weather. He traveled south, but the princess he found did not speak his language. He traveled west, but the princess he found would not leave her horses. He traveled east, but the princess he found was already married. One dark and gloomy night, a storm gathered outside the castle. Rain spattered against the windows. Lightning flashed and thunder crashed. Even the wind howled. The prince heard someone knocking at the door. When he opened it, he found a princess who was all wet. Water dripped from her hair and from the tip of her nose. Water pooled in her pockets and inside her shoes. The princess asked to come in and promptly made friends with the dog. That's good, thought the prince. At dinner, the princess was very polite. She said please and thank you, which pleased the cook very much. That's good, thought the prince. In the library, she read a rather big book. It was as heavy as a brick. That's good, thought the prince. The queen noticed that the prince liked this princess. She was his mother, after all, and mothers always know what you're thinking. So she took the prince into the study where she could speak to him in private. It seems you like this princess, said the queen. I do. She's kind to animals, said the prince. That's true, said the queen. And she says please and thank you, said the prince. That's true, said the queen. And she can read the biggest, heaviest books, said the prince. True again, said the queen. But does she have the hands of a princess? The prince didn't understand, so he just shrugged his shoulders. Everybody knows, said the queen, that a princess must have the smallest, thinnest hands. Does she have small and thin hands? No, said the prince. And everybody knows, said the queen, that a princess must have teeny tiny feet. Does she have teeny tiny feet? No, said the prince. And everybody knows, said the queen, that a princess must have a delicate face. Does she have a delicate face? I don't know, said the prince. He didn't understand all this talk about thin hands and teeny feet and delicate faces. He thought the princess had beautiful hands and beautiful feet and a lovely face. But most of all, said the queen, everybody knows that a princess must have a body that's as light as air. The queen and the prince prepared the princess's bed. They found the softest mattresses and the fluffiest pillows and the poofiest blankets. They piled them all up to the ceiling, one on top of the next. Underneath it all, the queen placed a single pea. If the princess is as light as the air, said the queen, she'll feel the pea underneath her. She'll toss and turn and have an awful night's sleep. The princess went off to bed. She fluffed her pillows, tucked herself in, and fell right asleep. At breakfast, the queen and the prince asked her how she slept. Perfectly well, said the princess. The pillows were lovely and the sheets were as soft as a cloud, and I had such odd, enchanting dreams. Well, what kind of dreams? Asked the prince. Dreams about peas, said the princess. First, one pea fell from the sky, then two, then three. Then there was a rainstorm of peas. They filled the moat and covered the drawbridge. Everything vanished beneath so many peas, even the towers of the castle and the turrets and the stairs. And the only food in the castle was steaming hot pea soup. The queen didn't like all this nonsense about peas. Well, it's settled, said the queen. The princess does not have a body that's as light as the air. She's not a true princess after all. But the prince thought she was a fine princess. That night, he put a pea beneath his mother's bed. When he put his ear next to her bedroom door, he heard the queen snoring. She snored quite loudly, like a roaring lion and a clucking hen. At breakfast, the prince asked the queen how she slept. Perfectly well, she said. Then the prince held up the pea he had hidden beneath his mother's bed. Well, it's settled, said the prince. The queen does not have a body that's as light as the air. She's not a true queen after all. The queen was so shocked that she fainted, landing right in a bowl of jam. But when she awoke, she remembered how the princess was nice and kind and intelligent, and she gave the prince and princess her blessing. They celebrated by going on a long, long voyage together. They went to the frozen north and the sunny south and the wide open west. They even went to the exotic east. When they got back to the castle, the first thing they did was sit down to a nice, hot, steaming bowl of pea soup. The end. So why do you think the queen was so concerned about the princess feeling the pea? The queen also thought that a princess should have tiny feet, thin hands, and be as light as the air. What qualities do you think a princess or a prince should have? I hope you enjoyed listening to this story. I enjoyed reading it to you. Thank you for watching.